Came out and we were aggressive.
Kind of what is your focus here, Steph, in these last 20 minutes of your regular season?
It's got to be attention to detail. We let him get loose on the defensive end of the floor. We got to make sure right there, getting to the rim, that's too easy. And then offensively, we got to be great screeners. We got what we wanted in the first quarter when we set great screens. We got lazy with it in the second.
All right, Steph, thanks a lot. We appreciate it. That's Stephanie White, head coach of the Fever. As Lexi Hall nearly traveled, was able to keep the possession alive. Here's Boston, can't finish, and a whistle will go against Boston. That will be her second personal. How about Minnesota in that first half? Minnesota 0 for 10 on catch-and-shoot threes.
That's where they really excel.
Here's Shepherd. Spinning, taking, and hitting, able to force her way in over Howard.
Steph Shepherd's really been a bright spot so far in this game for Minnesota Lynx on the offensive end.
12 points, 7 rebounds, a couple of assists. McBride eyes up. Gives it off. In the corner, Williams can't hit the three. Smith alone, and Indiana needs a timeout. Big jump out of the gates for Minnesota.
I told Courtney it's my favorite fit I've ever seen her in, and she's like, she loves it too.
Well, and Holly, it was interesting as Minnesota comes up with a steal out of the timeout. Talking with Courtney and Natisha earlier today at shoot-around, and they said if they got 100 people joining a live stream when they started, they went crazy. Here's Williams. Pull-up jumper, short. Rebound, slapped but grabbed by Boston, her 6th board. Mitchell denied by Carlton. Here comes Williams. Indiana yet to score in the third. Williams dishes out. Smith wide open. Connects. The first 3 of the night for Minnesota had been 0 for 30. Boston gets down by Williams. And we'll go to the line to shoot 2, but a 9-0 run to begin.
That Cheryl Reeve wants.
Boston hits the free throw.
One of the things that we were talking to Steph White about before the game is, what are you looking for tonight? And she said, I'm looking for 40 bleeping minutes of good, solid basketball, execution, effort, and preventing other teams from going on runs. And so she has to be frustrated with the effort and execution and the preventing of runs here in the first couple of minutes of the third.
Playoffs begin Sunday. Every game will be on the ESPN family of networks for the entire postseason. Here's Smith with a lane, kicks it out. McBride fires, can't hit. Rebound hits the floor, still loose, and Williams comes up with it for Minnesota. McBride 0 for 5 for 3 now. Finds Smith. Rumbling inside, couldn't finish it with Turner, able to guide it over to Powers. Made a big impact off the bench in the first half. Here's Mitchell, open 3. Is good! Indiana 6 for 10 from deep. Here's Williams. Bouncing inside, Smith able to lay it in around Boston. Another beautiful delivery from Courtney Williams. Turner finds the cutter. Sims using the window on a really nice pass.
Get better as our offensive weapons have gone down.
Jeffrey lost it out of bounds. Indy defenders races away. Hull steps inside and puts it in. Really patient attack there from Lexi Hall. Lead is back to 11 for Indiana. Carlton knocks in the jumper. 12. Jessica Shepherd with 12. Alana Smith with 11. Here's Hull. Another.
Kelsey Mitchell had 4 different players defend, get through the lane, and then delivered it out to Hull, but she was able to just change the shape of that defense with her drive.
She is just so fast, Rebecca, that she's able to work through and around things that maybe no other player in the league can. Something Stephanie White, just that ability to avoid some of the contact that's leaned on her, to avoid the double teams because she's able to speed by it. Here's Boston. Draws two. Extra feed. Mitchell.
And it was a little thing, but Bree Turner set a screen as Mitchell.
Here's McBride into Shepard. Lead back to 12 for Indiana. Smith, 3 to shoot. Williams, 1 to shoot. Doesn't see the clock. And a violation. But Indiana on a 14-6 burst since. Hull, short on that one. Dundas keeps it. And another chance for Indiana. Here's Mitchell cutting through, hooking up. The tip from Turner won't go. Athletic tip from Brianna Turner. Here comes Williams. Gets to what she calls her kill spot, but couldn't finish it. Mitchell finds Dundas on the roll. Her three. Oh. And sometimes seeps into my brain. We're not all playoff ready. Belandakova lays it in. Points in 7 minutes for Belandakova. Hall able to flag down the board. Mitchell again. Kelsey Mitchell is a hooper. Belandakova couldn't finish that one. 18 for 1 from the three-point line. As the foul's called against the Lynx. Especially once they've been around for a while to do 3, 4, 5 different things throughout the course of the season. To completely remake their role in every. Lead is back to 15. Shepard. No. Cole the rebound. Cole gives it up. Powers with Sherrod all over her. Powers floats it out. Extra feed. Back to Mitchell. Wants to pop. Mitchell gives it up. Turner lays it in. Timeout, Minnesota. Lead through 3 quarters. Final quarter of the regular season for the Fever, who have clinched their first winning regular season since 2015. They will be either the 6 or the 7 seed. Sims can hit the 3. Meanwhile, play Atlanta, Minnesota with a 72% chance. 10. The WNBA playoffs begin on Sunday with a quadruple header, all on ESPN and ABC. For more on these games on the ESPN family of networks. 9-0 Indiana run, 19-point lead, their largest of the game. Taylor. Couldn't finish it. Boston. Here's Hull. Can hit the 3.
A couple of good possessions in a row, though, from Indiana, moving the ball against the zone, getting wide open looks as a result.
Knocked away, Dundas on the steal. Here comes Sims. A little hop. As she took it inside the arc. Boston able to finish, but she was getting hugged, but was persistent and got it to drop.
Are you allowed to?
Air ball.
Yeah.
That's the one.
Officials might have said it was deflected. But if it wasn't, then no, is the answer. Shepard dips in, takes it on.
Jackson continues to play really hard and play really well for minute.
For the Lynx, if they're going to claim that 5th championship, most Dartis buries the three. Two players who were not a part of the equation a season ago. Even thinking about how New York was able to come back in Game 5 when they went to their super big lineup. And a foul here is going to send Clark, we know, his outlets for the season. Hadn't missed a game at Iowa, didn't miss any games last year. This season, she talked about in her Stephanie White, the Fever front office. People have asked, well, why didn't they make this decision a few weeks ago? Because they were trying to exhaust every tail off living in the gym. To get up to full speed, the calendar dwindled to where it was no longer going to be safe to bring her back, and it was then the prudent time to make that announcement. Now, people have wondered what yet when she injured her ankle, which eventually was diagnosed as a bone bruise. And so the ankle still recovering, keeping it at full speed. And the groin was never fully tested, happened. And that's why Indiana and Caitlin arrived at the decision they did, as hard as it has been, would just keep going and keep going. But the calendar made it at a point where there's just not enough time, and there was no way she was going to be able to get back and be competitive in a playoff.
Hard and frustrating, but you're also not.
And she said, even look at what happened to Tyrese Halliburton. Now, you never know exactly what's connected, but he's playing through a calf injury, a soft tissue injury, and ends up tearing his Achilles. And so Caitlin was just...
Odyssey Sims, by the way, the last two defensive possessions getting offensive screening fouls called on Minnesota as she's just trying to fight over the top of the on-ball screen.
Here's Boston laying it in off the window.
You would expect Steph White to start resting some of those starters if she has available bodies on the bench to do so.
Heidemann backs away. The jackknife jumper wouldn't go, but Kolundikova there for the follow, up to 10 points off the three for the Lynx. Smith, Shepard, and Kolundikova. Dejanay Carrington still out with a shoulder, not playing tonight. Become a key piece off the bench for Minnesota since being acquired. Lafisa Collier, the MVP candidate, also out, just getting some rest tonight. We'll step aside. Timeout in LA could still get into the playoffs if they win out and Seattle drops its final game. Steal here from Heidemann. On the break, Heidemann will lay it in. Indiana, currently the 7th seed. They can finish no worse than is likely. And then Golden State loses its final two games. Indiana would finish 6th. Howard gets fouled.
Stay ready. She believed that her opportunity was coming. And she said, you know, sometimes it's exhausting in this league. I feel like I have to keep proving myself over and to come along, that God has a plan in store for me. What's next? Stay ready. She said this Indiana Fever team has been exactly that. She's been waiting for the right fit, and she vows to change that narrative about how she adds energy to a locker room, and she said, I'm going to do it.
Yeah, and Holly, one of the things Stephanie White told us was at first, well, that's why we brought you here, and Odyssey has gotten comfortable with that and been very effective helping to navigate these last couple of weeks. And Stephanie told us that Odyssey's been so coachable in that regard and really coming along on the defensive end. With Asia, Lafisa, and AT. So many years, including this one, any of them could win.
Yeah.
Or which in this season.
I think you might. Last year was easy. It was the unanimous year.
With
Asia.
Chunk of games. Meanwhile, Asia Wilson has been putting up otherworldly numbers for 10, shooting at 50% from 3 over that span. And AT is shattering the record books team that's exceeded expectations this year.
And Lafisa Collier is 1 percentage point.
League history. What's amazing is she has already clinched joining Elena as the only 50, 35, 90 players in league history. Gunt is leaning. Off back iron, no. One thing we know for sure, all 3 of those players will be first team All-WNBA.
Yes.
Here's Kosu. Taylor trying to flag it down.
Championships as well.
Kayla Timpson heading to the scorer's table. Crowd wanted her in this game, and they're going to get their wish. And she jogged out. And Timpson finds Heidemann. Leaves it to Kosu, who will lay it in. And now Stephanie White will take a timeout with 1:47 to go in this. You know, to your point about New York, Rebecca, and just looking at the first round, obviously they've struggled for a prolonged period of time, but they just have not been healthy. And the numbers that they have had, their starting five on the floor have been incredible. They have bludgeoned the opponents. Tonight is the first time in a long time they've been whole. Just a game or two to enough to make them feel confident then going into the playoffs and like, okay, yeah, we went through the struggles, but
They have the weapons, the pieces, the experience of it all. It's just a matter of can you put it all together. And we've seen how dangerous Vegas has become just over the course of the last 3 weeks.
now if the playoffs
Matchup, you know, Alyssa Thomas now is having this incredible year with Phoenix. She is still without a championship.
and she has had a lot of it, has gotten to the finals twice. Taylor finished 3. Went to a game 5 against Washington in 2019. Lost in 4 a couple of years ago to Vegas. The Aces won their first and back-to-back finals. Melinda Coleman on the follow. The interesting thing is usually by now, Minnesota going to suffer its second wire-to-wire loss of the season. As the Indiana Fever almost able to run out the clock there. Kelsey Mitchell, a very strong finishing performance. And the Fever, their seed of the year. They take care of Minnesota 83-72 and finish this regular season at 24-20. No worse than the 7th seed, still alive to become the 6th.